Thank you, President Grace. Our guest speaker is Christie Wipprecht. Just some background information. I happened to, a number of years ago, go on, surf the net, as my mother would call it. Came across an article on Bay Today of a new business starting up down on Main Street West called 27, big letter C as in Coots, small letter O as the second part of Coots, Jewelry and Repair. This young lady was starting a business down there by the name of Christie, and gave information background that she was interested in doing jewelry design and repair, and had during her schooling had done a placement when she was at Cole Rockland with PJ Walsh. And if you remember, PJ Walsh was up on the other side of the bypass, Goldsmith's place, and it's now a pot shop, but most pot shops are in the city. So that's where Christie got her interest, and she attended Georgetown College in the Jewelry Arts program. And as I said before, she learned her trade with PJ Walsh. And this past March, during COVID times, both my watches died, and looking for business to do to get batteries. And I remember reading about this Christie's place in Main Street, so I dropped down, got to talk to Christie. She repaired, got the 2 batteries in my watches, and also she's done a battery in my wife's watch. So we got talking. So I got telling her about Rotary and if she'd like to come out and speak. So it took a while, COVID and different things. So she agreed to come out. And I think what sort of helped was I said, "Do you know Pat and Ralph Daigle?" "Oh yes, Pat drops in visitor all the time." I said, "They'll be there at Rotary when you speak." So I said, Ralph's been a long time in Ontario. So anyway, without taking much away from Christie, I'll have her come up and do a presentation.
It's nice to see some familiar faces.
So, yeah, just so
And many new ones. So as said, I'm just down on Main Street, 118 Main Street West. My business is 27 Code Jewelry. I've been in business about 6 years now. And I've been doing this about 16 years. So I was 16 when I did a co-op program with PJ Walsh Goldsmith. I was very fortunate that he took me on and gave me a chance, and he found that I was a natural at it. So from my co-op program, he decided to hire me part-time. And that part-time, I learned a few things, and he suggested I go to school for it. So at school, I was able to train some more, work on my skills, work on design, and I knew graduating that I'd have a full-time job with him. I worked with him for quite a few years, but he was getting close to retirement, and he ended up closing his store. So that's when I decided to open up my own place. I do jewelry design, I do jewelry repair, rate sizings, batteries, chain repairs, kind of a bit of everything. So it's just been so great being down on Main Street. I'm sure a lot of you are wondering why the store is called 27 Co. It's a bit of an odd name, but there's a story to it. My grandparents lived in a small town called Cobalt, about an hour north from here. So if you look at the periodic table, at number 27, CO is Cobalt. So it's kind of my roundabout way of calling it Cobalt. It's silver mining town. That connection too. So yes, it is very unique, but it has a meaning behind it. Any questions? Yes.
Christie, how much time in an average week would you spend on designing things? Or is it when somebody comes to you and says, "I'd like something"?
Yeah, so big part of my custom work is people coming in with old jewelry that they've inherited or don't wear anymore, and they don't know what to do with it anymore. So we tend to repurpose. We'll melt down the gold if we can, we'll reuse the diamonds, and we'll design something usually they come in with images provided to give me an idea of what they like. We'll design something together. That's one of my most rewarding parts of the job is when we start to finish, we come up with an idea. I do design work, we go back and forth for a bit, and then I full on make it by hand. 'Cause there's a few ways to make jewelry in this day and age, but you can melt down the gold and rework it and set the stones. That's kind of my favorite part of the job. So yeah, we forget your question at this
How
point,
much,
but
like if the week is a full pie, how much?
I would say it's a
that pie is
small
design?
percentage. Yeah, the repair end of the business
Yeah.
is the biggest part of it. Because everybody has jewelry, we all have things that break down and wear out over time. So everybody has something you need fixed up, eventually.
Where did you go for your training?
Oh, I didn't even say it. So I went to Georgetown College in Toronto. It was a 3-year program. It's called Jewellery Arts. So I did graduate with a certificate. We were about 18 students in the graduating class. It's a very small program, very hands-on. I really enjoyed it.
They have a really wide variety of specialty programs, or at least they did back when I was more familiar with them.
Yeah, there's a few different George Brown campuses.
Yeah.
There's one for the trades, there's one for the business end of it. I was near Castle McCastle, if you know Toronto. It's a nice quiet end of quieter end of the city.
Where do you get your inspiration from? Like for, say, if someone walked in and said, I've got all these stones and stuff that I've inherited, make me something. Would you?
Usually I try not to just work off of nothing. I'd hate to make something that I love, but in the end it's not your taste. So I would say go do some research, go look in magazines or online and find things that you like. And from there, different images of inspiration, we can together create a design.
And on stones and that too,
Yes,
right?
yeah. I kind of give them direction as to what would work for them. Oh.
What brought you downtown?
Honestly, the space. I have a store that's no wider than my arms. Yeah. It's very narrow, but it's very intimate. It's all the space I need. I work for the most part by myself. I run the business. I'm the goldsmith. I'm the bookkeeper. I'm the salesperson. So I kind of touch on all bases, and I do enjoy doing it all. I never saw myself being a business woman, but here I am, and I'm proud of it, and I enjoy all of it. The downtown's been great. I feel like I know everybody on my block. It's like a family. And I like being able to send people to other stores if I'm not able to help them. Great little community.
What would you like to know about Rotor?
Great question. I don't, to be honest, I don't know first. I welcome the questions. Yeah.
Christie, the pandemic was hard on all small business owners, so congratulations for making it through. We're proud of all our small businesses.
Thank you.
Did you do anything different or special as your business changed?
Through COVID, I had to start doing door, work from the door, take things in. Because I work by myself, I was able to go during lockdowns and just continue to work. I always have a backlog of repairs and custom stuff because I'm one person. I'm quite busy. I'm lucky that I have a successful business and that people continue to support me. But yeah, I just continued to work with whatever rules they kept giving us. If I could only have service from the door, then I greeted everyone from the door and managed to work like that. I delivered things to people throughout town once they were ready. But for the most part, I think just being able to communicate through Facebook, through email, through phone calls, using every means possible to keep in touch with the customers was a great tool during COVID. So they were able to reach out and communicate, and business has surprisingly grown throughout COVID and continues to grow. So COVID did not affect me luckily in a negative way.
So you have a bunch of competition in our state with the service you provide, or is it insurrection? You have your skill set.
I'd say there's not a whole lot of us who are doing kind of the repair end of it, the custom. There used to be, when I opened up, PJ Walsh had closed. The gentleman in the wall had, in the mall had just closed his store as well. Now we lost another one on Main Street. Like jewelry stores, for whatever reason, in town have just been closing left, right, and center. There's very few of us left, and there's so much work in the field, so there's definitely a demand for it, but not a lot of interest, I guess, in the repair end of the trade. Like I went to school with a bunch of people, and they're all just making their own jewelry. They're not interested in the service work end of it. So there's definitely a need for more of us. There's not much competition. It's more work than enough for whoever's left in town.
Have you had any impact from the street people? As you operate your business on the?
Honestly, I've been very fortunate with that too. It hasn't really affected me. Maybe people are scared to come downtown to my store, but they usually come with purpose. They're in, out. If the street people do walk in the store, I just answer their questions. They're very polite, and then they go on their way. But as far as theft or vandalism, I haven't had any issue. Luckily, hopefully things clean up and continue to get better downtown.
What do you do when you're not working?
Always working.
Good answer.
Question. Monday is your day off.
Even on days off, anybody who owns a business knows that the workday doesn't end at 5 o'clock. There's always more to be done. But if anybody's been in the store, they maybe know what my hobby is, which is plants. I've got quite the collection in the store and at home, so kind of what keeps me preoccupied.
Incorporate the plants into your jewelry too, right?
I've brought in some, plant jewelry, leaves and flowers.
I have a question. When I was speaking from online here, so I haven't heard everything that you have said necessarily, but as I understand it, your business is on Main Street?
Yes, yeah, just a block over from here.
Okay, 2 questions. First of all, are you involved with the Downtown Improvement Area Board? And secondly, what do you think about the reputation of our downtown right now in terms of business development? And what I'm alluding to is the problems that we have with homeless people.
No, I'm not part of the development board. I do not attend meetings. What do I think? Well, on my way here, unfortunately, I did come across someone sleeping in a doorway, which was very unfortunate to see. Hopefully they can fix things in the near future. I think they have improved. There is a bit of a police presence now. But I mean, it is a tricky thing to see. I lived in Toronto for about 3 years, and to me, it was a lot worse there than it is here, but it's also a smaller community and it's more in front of us. But I don't feel scared. I don't, I just know to keep walking and not look. So it's just a matter of how we treat them and to know that it's not the end of the world. It does need to be addressed, but we can live with it to some extent as well.
Thank you.
Hope that answered your question. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you for the questions. It helped. I'm not big on talking about myself, but I do love my business and I do love everything I do. I did bring a few items for you guys to look at. The 2 rings are things that I made while I was in school. So most of my custom pieces, they go out the door the second I finish making them. So I didn't have any of those to bring for you, and just some tools and some neat things for you to look at, see kind of what I work with on a day-to-day basis. Thank you.
Christie, on behalf of the club, what a great way to kick off the Rotary theme for this month, which is community economic development. You're quite a success story. You own your own business. You have chosen to locate downtown, which makes me very, very happy. You do creative things as well as things that we rely on quite a bit. And that is very much appreciated. I was really intrigued to learn that the marketplace in terms of your colleagues or competitors has changed as much as it has in a very, very short period of time. But we want to wish you every success. We hope that someday we hear that you're growing and you're expanding and making the business bigger. We really appreciate also the fact that you came back home to try and chart your destiny. And we wish you every success in your business and other endeavors as the days go forward. Thank you very much for your presentation.